just a weight box, like,
Slide over a little bit.
but anyways, that's kind of what I'm trying to filter out is what's the priorities here that I need to be looking at. With all those emails I'm getting, so,
Yeah, there's a lot of emails now.
yeah,
And I think it's just like, take one thing at a time.
yeah.
Not hearing anything from William.
But I definitely need to come up with a good system, and that's what I'm hoping, Shannon will help me with, and.
Yeah, are you gonna do her coaching thing with her?
Yeah, she's still getting it set up. And. But yeah, I'm still.
I know they've been working a lot on it and,
She says she's almost there.
well, and working with you, I think is perfect because, she can work it out live. Cause she's trying to change some things. She used to do all the coaching for her previous brokerage and the training for new agents and all that kind of stuff. So she's got a lot of it already there as a foundation.
Right.
But I know she wants it to be so much better.
I get that for sure.
Huh, Stacy? You're muted, but that was cute anyway.
I said, that's right. Are you talking about?
That's
Susan?
right. That's right.
People on the road.
Are you ready for Cabo?
Sure.
Don't you wish it was now?
Oh my
I
gosh.
wanna
no,
go.
I feel like I've got so much going on. But don't worry, nothing real estate related.
Nothing real estate related.
No. How about you guys? What's new?
What's new? Let's see. We were just talking about old. I cold plunged in my pool for the first time this weekend. 42 degrees, baby.
Ew.
Ew.
I bet that was invigorating.
Yeah, I was talking to Ashley, but we'll actually talk more about it. Why that's relevant on when Shayna talks about her recap from her challenge from last week. But yeah, it was great. I love it. I do the cold showers every day, but I go to a friend's house just once a week and he has the ice bath and sauna and we do all that. Early in the morning, like 5. And I've always said, oh, I've got my own cold plunge now. I've got a pool and I'm not heating it. I'm not gonna keep it heated through the whole winter and everything. So I'll just use that. And here it is going on February and I haven't done it once. So I was telling Ashley, like, I spent one weekend cleaning the leaves off the cover and then vacuuming the pool and getting it all ready, right? But I never got in.
But you did it.
But I did it. Now it's just like, yeah, I'll do it on a regular for sure. I like it.
And how long do you stay in this ice bath?
4 minutes.
4 minutes of, yeah.
No
Nearly long enough to die.
worries. Just gave me the big middle high finger. Said no.
I can handle about 2 minutes. I'm out of there, not 4.
Yeah. So do you do plunge? Full plunge?
Not like
You
you
have.
do.
But-
I tried in my best to do them just,
So Ashley and I were talking about cold showers and she's up to 15 seconds.
Good job, Ashley. That only happens to me when I run out of hot water.
Whenever you run out of hot water.
And I'm like, oh, time to get out.
Oh, that's
Just
cool.
the decision to actually turn it to cold is a big stepping stone.
It
for
is
me.
step one, right?
So the decision of, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start, I have a little timer that I put in my shower. I'm gonna start my little timer. I'm gonna turn it to cold. So
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good benefits from doing that. Neurological, we were just talking about before you showed up. By doing something that you don't want to do, the benefits that has on expanding a certain portion of your brain. Yeah, just the fact that you followed through and you did it and you didn't want to do it. So by contrast, if you enjoy it, you don't get that sort of same brain activity because it's something that you enjoy doing. It's not a challenge. So I think David Goggins, right? David Goggins is always like pushing the limits, doing shit, and he's always saying, I hate it. I hate running. I hate doing this stuff, but I do it anyway because it's all about the discipline. Well, I was listening to like a snippet from a podcast with, is it Andrew Huberman? What's his first name? Andrew Huberman. He's a neuroscientist, and he was talking literally about by doing things that you don't want to do, it has this beneficial impact on your brain and increases the size of this certain portion of your brain. I can't remember what it's called. It's like 3 words, this portion of your brain, only by doing something that you didn't want to do. So by contrast, he was saying, if you like it and you're doing something you like doing, you don't get that effect. So we were talking about like the cold plunge, the cold shower. It doesn't negate all the other physical and benefits that come from ice baths and cold showers and stuff. But if you look forward to it and you're doing it because you enjoy it, you just aren't getting that same growth in that certain area of your brain, which then has other effects. And I was talking to Lynn about it, and the same day I was listening to the podcast, a program they're in, they were talking about the exact same thing. And
You pulled it from the podcast.
maybe we did. Oh, nice. But what was he saying was the benefit of having that part of your brain grow and expand by doing hard things.
Just that then you are able to level up more because you're able to do those hard things, and then the hard things become easier. And then
No longer hard.
yeah, they're no longer hard, and then you can level up.
So you have to level up.
Yeah.
But I'm sure just mentally, once you've succeeded at something that was a challenge for you, I mean, mentally, that's got to be encouraging. And, you know, it's like, okay, I did that. So now what can I do?
Yeah, right. I mean, for all of us, things that are easy for us to do once were hard. Right? No matter what it was, you can use any analogy you want, a baby learning to walk, whatever. Things were hard. I used to talk about a lot when I ran an investor group, about risk. Like I had done so much personal real estate investing that my experience made things less risky, right? Because I could eliminate the risk, or I could moderate the risk. And I'm talking to a brand new investor that's never done a deal before, and something that's very simple, not even complex to me, scares the shit out of them. Only because they haven't done it before.
Right.
Right? So the best advice is to team up with somebody who has, so that you can benefit from their risk tolerance, but also their experience and their knowledge of everything, and make that hard thing easier. And that's one of my biggest regrets is I didn't get that mentorship. I felt like I had to do everything on my own.
Yeah.
You probably learned a lot more though. You had to learn from your mistakes and
Yep.
things like that, and I think that's even more beneficial.
Well, I was talking to your friend, what's her name?
Mandy.
Mandy.
Mhm.
Mandy. She had a great attitude.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
totally got screwed. It was a bad experience. She lost a lot of money, but she's just like, I learned so much. So I used to relate those kind of losses to tuition. It's like, never wanted to go to college. I mean, how many tens of thousands, or even depending on where you go, hundreds of thousands of dollars is that for that education? And it's really not even something that you're going to apply to your day-to-day lives or whatever, but you're willing to pay that expense. Why not invest in yourself and in doing things, knowing that you aren't necessarily losing money, but sometimes those losses are attributed towards knowledge and learning experiences and tuition. Whenever I lost money, and Lynn hated it so bad. Whenever I lost money, he's like, yeah, it's just tuition. Just paid my tuition.
You're not wrong.
Looking at it, that's
Yeah.
why I'm having to look at my business right now, is like, cause I have like no consistent income coming in, so I'm like, okay, I'm investing in trying to be,
Yeah. So, and we can talk about that even when this is done or whatever. It's like, you can still say, okay, I don't have any consistent income in there, but what are the consistent activities you
Right.
can do that would lead to that income? And that's the hard part, is because it's not instant in this business, but you got to put in the work to build the momentum so you can get paid in 2 months.
I want to just jump in and tell you guys.
My entire day, rewrite everything.
Go ahead, Stace.
I loved Linda Tuttle's presentation that she did last week, the tax benefits and advisor. She was lots of good information.
It was good, huh? It was good. And we were talking about it afterwards, I think. It was a lot. It was a lot of information. And so we may set up some future ones where she can go deeper on certain things because there's so much to the tax code and there's so much available to us. I always say whoever knows the rules best wins, right?
For
Because
sure.
all the time when you're talking about certain tax advantages you've taken or breaks, or I didn't have to pay tax because I did that. Most people are like, what, that sounds illegal, right? You can't do that or whatever. Because they don't know. And whatever we don't know can actually hurt us until, you know, we don't know what we don't know. So yeah, Stacy, I agree. I thought it was a great, it was more or less an overview, but what it did, and that's why you made that comment, it's on your radar now. You're thinking about it. It's like, I need to know more about that. That's the best type of training, is like, it's enough information where you kind of feel like you're confused and you got enough value out of it, but you want more, right? That's a good training. It's like,
Plus it's tax season.
plus it's tax season.
It's on my mind anyway.
Oh,
All right, Ashley.
Ready to get started?
Yeah, let's get, this is fun. I just like talking to you guys. So.
Yeah, I was just waiting for an opening.
Yeah, sorry. You now have it.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started, and we're starting off with Shayna this week. Her quote was, never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. And so go ahead, Shayna.
Okay, awesome. So last week I had challenged you to look at your opportunities this upcoming week, or now last week, and just kind of see where you were practicing swinging the bat. And I wanted to just check in and see if there was anybody who wanted to share anything as far as what they experienced. Maybe did they go up against something that was scary or challenging for you and you went through with it anyway? Was there something that you that maybe you resisted and didn't swing the bat? Anybody want to share before I talk more? Nobody? Crickets?
I have something, but I'm trying to be quiet to let somebody
Well,
else.
Jeff, I don't think you should ever be quiet, so go ahead and share.
I was actually, we've already talked a little bit about it in here. And I don't know when Zoom was on. But I was mentioning to Ashley, you brought up the 5-second rule. And kind of the challenge was find yourself, you know, where you're in a situation where you know you should be doing something and you're not doing it. Implement the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just do it. Just take the action. For me, just in you with the great presentation you did last week and talking about swinging the bat and not being afraid to strike out and all of that kind of stuff, what it did for me in thinking about the challenge that you posed to us was just make me more aware of my procrastination and of the things where I say I want to do it and I'm not doing it. For instance, I was talking to these guys how I finally cold plunged in my swimming pool. I've been talking about it all winter. And like last week I was vacuuming and cleaning the bottom of it, and I put my little robot in there. And before that I was cleaning all the leaves. I was like getting ready to get ready, right? But I never got in the damn pool. And but because of this mindset and because of this, it wasn't like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm gonna do it. It wasn't like that type of energy. It was just like, why haven't I done it? You know, it's something I want to do. I only do a cold plunge once a week with a friend in his setup, and then I do cold showers, but I've got this setup that I've said I'm going to utilize this. So this Saturday I finally did my first cold plunge in my pool, and it's perfect. It's 42 degrees. So I did my 4 minutes in there. It felt great. It was a beautiful day. But it was just, anyway, it was just like, why aren't I doing the things I say I want to do, and being aware of that, and kind of like, you know, slapping yourself upside the face a little bit, and just like, you say you want to do it, but do you really? If you do want to do it, why haven't you done it? And so that's kind of my takeaway, was not necessarily making a list of all the times where I felt like I needed to take extreme action and do it now, but why don't I do some of the things that I say I want to do? Is it because I really don't want to do them? Anyway, it was just a kind of a mind set thing for me.
I think that's a really great way of putting it. And I mean, we all have things that we want to do, right? And for some reason we don't follow through on it, and we spend our entire lives wanting to do things that we're not doing. And I feel like in a way that is kind of exhausting when you think about it, because we then beat ourselves up and we're just not fulfilling our potential and all of those things. So I really like that. Well, the reality is that, oh, in a week, it's kind of hard to, like, in a week's time, think about that this challenge, I want it to continue going forward. This is a day by day thing. Every day you get an opportunity to get up and decide what you're going to tackle for the day. So one other question I wanted to ask is, looking ahead, what are some opportunities you might be hesitant to pursue due to the fear of failure, and how can you approach these opportunities differently? With keeping this quote in mind of not letting the fear of striking out, but keeping you from playing the game. Maybe if anyone would be willing to share, maybe something in their business that they're looking forward to. One other thing that I want to not confuse is that sometimes we look so far in the future that also causes us to not take action. And so we get to be a little bit more present. And it doesn't necessarily have to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go do it now, but just in the day-to-day consistency. I think I heard you guys talking about consistency a little bit before I hopped on, or when I hopped on. It's the day-to-day things that you do consistently that is going to start showing you your life is going to be different in time. James and I are in a coaching program, and we have someone else who is going through the coaching program a couple months behind us, and they were just kind of saying, that they're not getting anything out of the program. And the whole point of the program is to be writing every single day your vision and purpose statement, what you're grateful for. And she admitted that she's not doing those things. And then she said the program's not working for her. And so I said, okay, is it the program not working for you, or you not working for you? And I just, there was something that was eye-opening to me, as far as, like, when you are educating yourself in your business and wanting to work on things for your business, are you actually doing the work? Are you taking the time that you need to write out what you're grateful for, write out your goals every day, or are you just going down the road hoping that it's gonna come to fruition? So anyway, is there anyone willing to share with their business something that they're hesitant to pursue?
I will. I set an intention to have a very specific schedule daily, and I am not doing a great job of that. And a big part of that schedule is making daily calls. Now, I do intend to focus my daily calls in my warm market, but I need to do that. Like, I'm not going to realize the future business that I envision having if I don't do the work.
Awesome, Shantae. So how can we hold you accountable for that? Or how can we support you in that? I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately it's up to you. Like, as individuals, like, we all have to take ownership of our response. Like, we have our own responsibility to do it, right?
Mhm.
And we can have support and accountability. So yeah, what can we do to help you with that?
Yeah, well, right now I am being more intentional about making my list and crossing people off. So I need to set a number and just circle back with me next week.
Okay, so what's your commitment from now until next week?
With another project, I did set the intention of making reaching out to 20 contacts in a week. So 20 contacts in a week.
Okay,
Shouldn't
awesome.
be that hard.
I'm
Shantae,
excited.
does that have to do with the note you put in the chat?
Yeah, kind of all of the above. Connected businesses. Actually, my 20 call commitment for the week was actually for Pro Insight, like a coaching networking group that I'm a part of, that Eric is also a member of. And so I am reaching out as a guide and a trainer to connect with our existing members and help them realize their business. But in doing that, I also need to do that specific to my real estate clients, specific to my design, my tax clients, and so on. People don't know what you do or that you're available for them unless you make the calls and have the conversations, right?
Exactly. Is there anyone else that wants to share before I conclude?
I'll jump in, Shayna. I love what you said about, you're always thinking about the future and, how it seems so far out there. And it really is, when you have goals in mind, it is about doing something every single day to work towards that. Because it reminded me of an old saying that I heard a long, long time ago, that in real estate, you're getting paid today for what you did 90 days ago. And that's, it's pretty dang accurate. Sometimes it's even longer than 90 days. Just kind of depends on, the market and the clients that you're working with. But you have to be thinking long-term in the future with real estate, with everything that we do. But you have to take action today based on 90 days out. And I remember, like last week, Jeff mentioned that, Babe Ruth was not just the home run king, but the strikeout king. And we really have to look at everything we do as a numbers game. Even if we're talking to our SOI, it's people we care about and we're reaching out because we sincerely want to help them. But if you don't make those touches, then you're letting things go to just by chance. So it becomes a numbers game with everything. Last week you did an amazing job and helped spur me on to do some things that I've just been kind of pushing off every single week. So made some really, really excellent contacts with some large businesses for Bundle Select that I'm working with right now. So, and that's even longer than 90 days probably, but it's important to do those things that that take longer, that don't change the temperature of your life necessarily today, but can long-term as well. So yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. I love that you mentioned Babe Ruth again, as far as the strikeout king. So I did pull up those statistics and he had 714 home runs, which was the record for nearly 40 years before it was broken by Hank Aaron. He had a total of 8,399 at-bats. And 1,330 of those were strikeouts. And so I thought that was interesting. He had 2,873 hits in his career, which 2,200 of those were RBIs. And so you're right, it is a numbers game. In our industry of real estate, we are going to have no's. We're going to have clients and listings and things that just don't quite go our way. So I'm going to encourage you to just reframe your mindset. And instead of seeing each no as like a stop, that maybe I wasn't meant to do this, or, whatever, try to reframe it and just technique. I was a swimmer in high school and we focused on 4 things, which this is a good way. I could describe it in basketball too, but that would be James. But in swimming, we focused on 4 things. We focused on our start, our stroke, our turn, and our finish. Those are the 4 simple things. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate and we try to do all of these fancy things in our business. And really, we just need to be focusing on the basics. I've been attending a lot of basketball games lately, and I watch how people can steal the ball and run down and just make a simple layup. And oftentimes they miss. And I'm thinking, man, if if they could master the layup, which is so basic, that is what they would win the game every time. And so anyway, that's my closing remarks is to just go out there, put yourself out there, take the risk of no, swing the bat, and take those opportunities and those no's, reframe them, and just adjust slightly, keep it simple, and long term you will be way more successful than trying to do all of the things where you can't even track and don't know what's working and what's not working. So there you go.
I love it, Shayna. I was just thinking too, bundle select is one of the things that I need to focus on. I've got this whiteboard in front of me here that has a list of all the companies that I've got approved, the ones I've reached out to, but I haven't done a whole lot with it in the last couple of weeks. And why not? I don't know, but I need to. So that's on my list too. And I was just going to give you one more statistic that I heard somewhere. I don't know. It's you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's a good one. And I will reach out to you, Stacy, and be your accountability partner on Bundle Select because I'm in the same boat. I've got a list and I want to work on it. So let's get together and start taking action on that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hey
Awesome,
guys,
Nate.
don't forget Babe Ruth had a coach too, right? He had an accountability partner as a coach, right?
Right.
I started working out with my 12-year-old son in our basement gym about a month ago, and we made a plan, we made a schedule, which days we're going to do what, because he really wants to get that, in his life, and he will not let a day go by. Like he will bug me, he will text me, he will Alexa me from another room. Hey dad, are we ready? Let's go, it's time. I mean, I cannot take a day off. So pretty cool to have somebody that's an accountability partner that can push you even when you're not feeling it. So
I love that. That's awesome.
dad, it's shoulder day. Let's go.
Awesome. Okay. Next, we've got just recognition. We've got a few new agents that came in Washington. They're under Mindy, and then someone else that's under Mindy.
Is it Julie?
I think so. Yeah. So we've got a few new agents there.
Speak up.
Sorry. Does anybody have anything that they want to add in for market conditions? We didn't have anything, but we wanted to still talk about it. And I guess we can just move on to this section where we're talking about our opportunities, challenges, market conditions, wins, current and upcoming client needs, anything that you guys want to talk about while we're all on here.
I guess I'll say something. So we had a great open house this last week on our listing and ended up getting an offer and getting under contract. And I'm just noticing, well, it's just one situation. So I'm curious to see if you guys are seeing it, but I imagine we have a huge domino effect. Like, I think we're getting that again, where we have contingencies and they have buyers on their house and they have buyers. I think we have at least a 4-house chain going.
Mhm.
And so I haven't seen a lot of that for a while because they kind of had to work around the contingencies. So anyway, any advice? I think we've got it, but anything that can be shared as far as what to look out for as we're kind of going back into that.
Yeah, Lynn's actually working one right now that's similar to yours. She's got 4 dominoes in hers. And that's difficult, but the main thing in those that she's challenged with is the communication from the other agents. And them perhaps not taking it as serious and asking for ridiculous little extensions and things like that, not realizing that it affects all the transactions as far as occupancy and, extending deadlines and stuff like that. Everybody's deadlines have to match up in the right order to make something like that happen. So that's been the biggest challenge, is just keeping the communication open and having the other agent be empathetic to the other transactions that they're affecting. So I don't know what to do about that, but that's the challenge.
Yeah, I think right now, at least in our situation, is our deadlines. I mean, we're talking 8 weeks out instead of 4, right? So everything is pushed way out. And the hope is to close sooner, but we're trying to have flexibility so that, you know, when you've got 4 buyers in a row where everything has to close, boom, 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 boom. Anyway, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. I haven't had to deal with that for a while.
Well, and as far as tying that to market conditions and stuff, I think the timing right now to encourage people to put in their offers or to take action versus the spring and the summer, because as Corey talked about on the panel discussion we did, the spring buying season has already started. He's seen a huge uptick in applications, but that's the application process. They're getting pre-approved, right? Then they got to go look at properties. So they are our closings for March and April. So the spring buying season has already started, and that competition may come back to where we won't find ourselves, like you're talking about, Shane, in all these contingency situations, because those went away last time when we had to be competitive. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of urgency, I think, right now. Anybody else?
Hey, Shayna, I'll just say, yeah, 4 is my limit. That's just, I can't do 5. I can't do 5. That's too much. But you know, one of the agents needs to kind of take the lead, unfortunately, because like all 4 agents or 5 agents, however many are involved, aren't all going to try to communicate with the other agents. And we also have a responsibility to, you know, our buyer or seller or both, to give them the best chance and shot at getting everything closed. At the same time, we can't always disclose everything about every offer to other agents, right? And other buyers and sellers. So someone has to take that lead and make those communications all the way back to the beginning and all the way to the end. And not all agents are going to do that. So when that situation happens, I do everything I can to have communication with all of them, and just expect that none of the other agents are doing that. And just be really considerate and you know, open about it, that we have a domino effect and we have earnest money and a lot of things that can go on. So just please, I just, you know, request that if anything comes up or changes, please put me on your ticker to, you know, give a call or a message to, so we have a heads up if there's any issues at all.
I 100% agree. And I plan on taking that role because we're at the end of the domino. And it's like, obviously, we're going to be affected greatly where if there's any break in the chain.
Yeah, so it sounds like Shayna heard it, but when Eric said somebody's got to take the lead, what he really said is you have to take the lead.
Well, I've said for a long time, one of the hardest things about real estate, well, 2 of them really, I've said this for years, is the house picks the agent that you work with, not the other way around. So, you know, sometimes you work with agents that don't have the experience or don't have the same desire to be as thorough as you. The other thing unrelated is mortgage brokers that, you know, that your buyer is forcing you to use that you've never worked with before. That's always a big challenge. But yes, yeah. So you have to work with agents sometimes that have a different style and work ethic than you. So that can be a challenge. So if you're working with a bunch of agents, you've got to take that lead and be the chameleon a little bit and work with different personalities and styles to do your best. And to save some heartache later, because in a way you're kind of hoping, it's like, man, I hope this works. I hope this all works out. I hope everyone communicates. Communicate to your client and let them know that you're in contact with, you know, the other agents in the domino. You're following up, you're asking them to let you know. So if anything does change at the end, they know that it's not on your end. It's you've done everything you can. to help make sure that other people can perform.
Right. One more thing on that. We talk a lot about the better agent experience, right? We're all conscientious of our clients having just a stellar experience with us, and they want to use us again, they want to refer us, but this is a huge opportunity to really help out other agents as well and love on them, because they're not your competition. This needs to be kind of a team effort to get these things done. And good things come from that. I would be willing to bet, I'd have to ask Lynn, she's not here, she had to take another appointment, but at least 2 to 3 times a year, she's getting a call from another agent that has lost a buyer or is bringing a property back to market that was off market and calling her first, because they had a great experience working with her and they want to do another deal with her. And so they're calling her, do you have any buyers in this area, this price range? Before I go active, I wanted to check with you first. Guys, that's huge. That could just really bring in, and I know she's done deals because of those calls, but that could really bring your client into a situation where they get their home that they may not have gotten otherwise. So think of all the long-term benefits of really making these transactions awesome for everybody involved too.
Does anybody else have anything that they want to talk about on this one? Okay, we'll move on. We've already talked a little bit about last week's training. We had Unlocking Wealth with Linda Tuttle. She did a great job going over the basics of, different tax strategies that we can use. So if you haven't seen it, I would recommend going back and watching it. And then this week we've got Josh Thomas coming in to talk about 9 renovation loans to grow your business. And I honestly had never heard about renovation loans before, so it should be a good topic.
It's been a minute since we've had a lender talk about those, but they do exist and they're just not as common, so this is great.
Yeah, so this one should be a good one. And then we've got our upcoming trainings. We switched our EXP overview on the first week of February to be like a market overview with Alan Blood. He's gonna come in. He reached out to us and said he has a really great presentation, so we're gonna have him in.
Yeah, those of you that have seen Alan before can understand why I tried to make a slot for him. He's prepared his market forecast. He's very articulate, he researches, he's got great data and stats that we're still in January going into February now, but this is ammunition for you guys to have some great conversations with your clients, and even just on your social media that might create some engagement or whatever, to share what you're going to hear in this one. That's why we cleared that spot. I think this is super, super timely and important, and he's a great instructor.
I think it will be an awesome training. And then we've got social media training and then house hacking training coming up. So those should also be awesome. And now we have Hillary to do our parting thoughts.
Yeah.
Already my turn.
Already. You're up.
Okay, do my minutes down,
No, not at all.
so I can stretch a little bit. Now that I know I'm.
Still, I'm gonna put this on you so they can see you. Nice.
I actually, so I actually love Shana's thought from last week. I wasn't here to hear it, so it's kind of cool to see kind of what you're talking about, because it totally relates to what I feel may actually maybe even help kind of guide. And one of my biggest things that I feel like I had to overcome, especially in real estate, is fear. For most realtors, what is our biggest fear of being a realtor besides rejection?
Maybe messing up.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously. I mean, I kind of was just, mine was fear of what people are gonna think of me. Comparison, yeah. And so one thing that so it's been one of my biggest hurdles I've had to kind of overcome. And what I've come to learn is that fear, like in your brain, fear and love cannot like coincide together. And Larry Kendall actually talks about this a lot in the Ninja book, and kind of changing that mindset. And what I've come to learn is that I'm more focused on myself and my own imagined fears is what they are, really, imagined fears. And which there's a whole other story behind that, but what I've kind of been reading over this week is preparing for this is actually really good relation to teams. So you were talking about baseball.
Yeah.
I'm actually talking about like other sports teams as well, which is kind of funny. But I think it can also be related to and resonate or relate to what we're trying to do. So in 2016, the Clemson football team, they're Clemson, Alabama, they won the national championship in 2016. And the coach, Dabo Sweeney, he said that his one word all year was love. And he told his team that their love for each other would be the difference in their success. This past year, the Denver Nuggets, the NBA team, when they were interviewed, they all talked about their cohesive relationship between each other, and the relationship and the love that they had to each other was the keys to their success. The next one that also this year was Notre Dame's lacrosse team. His coach also was very similar to that, where they also won their championship for the first time in the 42-year history. And the 5 years before that was such full of disappointment that the one thing he said that changed it this year was love. This is one, I want to read one of his quotes that he said when being interviewed. He said, "When you're feeling nervous, fear, and trepidation, just remember the thing that drives out fear the best is love. Just love what you're doing. Love the fact that you're here. Love that you have this team of guys that you love and that are with you. If you concentrate on that, the fear and the trepidation will go away." I know this talks a lot about teams, but I feel those messages can be applied to everyone with the same goals as we deal with fear and try to accomplish our own goals is by loving others, and we'll cast that fear away. And so instead of fearing failure, that you'll perform at a higher level, and you will love what you do, and you'll stop worrying about those mistakes that you worry about making sometimes. But I think those will go away, and you'll have the confidence. Your confidence will start to grow. You'll have that strength back, that courage, and so which leads to my quote. So where fear divides, love unites. Love creates connection and oneness, and this leads to power and strength. So love is the difference. And I don't know if you know who John Gordon is. Does everybody know everyone should probably know who John Gordon is. Anyway, he is actually the one who wrote the Power of Positivity books, like the Power of Positive Leadership, the Energy Bus. He's the guy who wrote this. Awesome. I've actually read all three of those books. One thing is just that, getting out of that fear and love by focusing on others and focusing on our customers. And I think we talked a lot about, since I've joined this, I've noticed a lot of you guys have talked about like gratitudes and affirmations. And as I've come to, and also Larry Kendall talks a lot about this, he says, focusing on your affirmations every day, writing those affirmations 25 times, what does he say? 25 times, 3 times a day for 30 days. And I have started to do that. So if you guys did that, that's part of the Ninja 9. So that, I feel like that has really helped me get into that mindset of, writing the notes and having that mindset of being able to make your calls. And it kind of gets you in that positive mindset without having that fear blocking. And so those are just some of the things that I have done to kind of help me get out of that. I'm not perfect at it, but I am doing my best and setting new goals for myself and making some adjustments to do that. So I think, oh yeah, and what I've also come to notice is that as I you kind of exude, is that what it is? Exude that positivity, that people be drawn towards you. And I'm sure you already had this experience, but, that's one thing I've definitely had to adjust and change and to be able to have that. Anyway, that's my.
I love it, I love it. So what do you, as far as ending this, because we're gonna recap next week, is, kind of not necessarily a challenge, but our focus for this week on this, something we should pay specific attention to.
Yeah, I think just, I think that the Ninja 9 is a huge thing, is like, are you doing the Ninja 9, which will help you, you know, kind of get that mindset to be able to, to maybe reach out to our customers and focus on how can we love them, how can we serve them, how can we, you know, I think all those things of just, you know, what can we do to love others, and besides sending them a birthday card or this or that, or, you know, looking for those, Larry Kendall talks about the ninja book. Sorry, going back to the ninja book, like I have all these notes I refer to every day, at least try it every day, but, just the, I know I forgot. Left my mind, it was metaphor. Anyways, that was the only way to say something and I forgot, but, yeah, just, I think just doing the Ninja 9 every morning and trying to get that mindset to be able to focus on serving others and, oh yeah, look for their change, I guess, in their, when you're making your calls and those board questions. And so I think those are really good habits to develop. I'm not as consistent as I should be, and so that's one of my goals, is to become more consistent and make sure I have that schedule. You know, like I went to order my calendar and that, you know, and I'm making excuses now, right? But no, anyway, it was like sold out, and so I had to go find something else, and so it's, anyway, should be here this week. So I can start doing all my calendars again, but anyway.
So I love that you started out talking about the fears, yeah, the fears that we have, and you said, kind of like comparing yourself to other people and not taking action and stuff like that, because of self-consciousness, right? Because we're thinking about ourselves, and then you moved into love, and I agree, and I love all of this, because we can be more successful by finding ways that we can serve others. Eric and I have talked a lot about this, like with our listing presentations and stuff like that, by removing the expectations for me on what I'm trying to accomplish and my goal for that meeting. It allows me to fully 100% focus on them and what their needs are. And like Hillary's saying, just love on them. You want them to know, and I've said this before, but you want, when you leave that meeting, you want them to know 110% that you had their interests above your own. That's the easiest listing presentation you'll ever give, is to consult with them and to love on them and to find out how you can serve them. And it eliminates that self-consciousness. There's a difference between self-awareness and self-consciousness, but self-consciousness is when we're thinking about ourselves, when we're thinking about what we're trying to accomplish, and even subconsciously as we're talking to them, we come across different, we communicate different. And when we are focused on them and asking more questions and getting them to speak more than we're speaking, they know that as well. So I love that. So maybe kind of also, besides the habits of, you're doing the Ninja 9, the habits of your daily habits, find situations where you can just serve on somebody else with being selfless, right? There may not be anything in it directly from that exchange for you, but find situations to do it anyway. And you're doing good, because I got it.
Yeah,
Anyone else have any comments on that before we wrap up? Well, I guess wrap up team meeting portion, we'll move on to agent interaction.
I want to say one more thing, sorry. Kind of tying all this together and what Shane was talking about, what Hillary's talking about, and just our brainstorming. One thing I was thinking of is the difference between being interested in something versus being committed. I can't remember what book I read it into or who said it. It's not my concept, and I've heard it mentioned by a lot of people, is ask yourself, Are you merely interested or are you committed? Interested is like, oh yeah, I want to do something. It would be nice to have this. But when you're committed, you do the activities that are going to create the results, right? And so sometimes we feel like we're committed to an outcome, like we want to sell 10 more homes this year. We're committed to the outcome we think in our mind, but we're not committed to the daily action steps that are actually going to produce those results. So there's a small little book I read years and years ago that I reflect back on in these situations called, it was by Wade Cook. This is going clear back to the early 90s. One of the real estate gurus in the 80s, like Ron LeGrand, Robert Allen, those guys. Wade Cook wrote a little tiny book called Don't Set Goals. And then in parentheses, it said The Old Way. And the subtitle was, all you can do is all you can do, but all you can do is enough. So when you're setting goals and you're saying, yeah, are you doing the things that's going to produce the goal, the result, which most people set as the goal? The goal should be the day-to-day things like you're doing, following your ninja design for you and doing those things daily. The results are a byproduct. Or I mean, those things you want as your goal are a byproduct of the activities, right? So anyway, a couple of thoughts on that.
I have something that kind of goes along that line. I was reading a book, and in there it says vision drives discipline. And so, Jeff, what you said as far as like you're committed to the outcome, if your outcome is just to sell houses, honestly, selling houses is not that exciting. Just like, you know, I was thinking some sort of plumbing thing, like that's really not that exciting. Like if you're a proctologist, looking at prostates is really not that exciting, but those are the daily things. And so you really have to tie those daily things to your larger vision. And then when you see that those little baby steps get you to your vision, and I think helping people can definitely be part of your vision. That's part of my vision, whether it's family or relatives or just kind of people in general that you're trying to attract into yourself. So you really need something larger than, oh, I got to make 20 phone calls, because that doesn't sound exciting. But if you're thinking these 20 phone calls are going to allow me to, you know, provide this for my family, or I'm going to be able to help these people and really get them the best deal or protect them on a transaction, you kind of have to have a bigger, it's kind of like your why. It's got to be there. And then at that point, it kind of goes back to the training, is that if your vision is big enough and specific enough, you're not going to care that you're rejected, because it's going to completely get rid of that aspect. Because you're like, you know, that person just wasn't necessarily for me. I'm going after the person that's going to say yes and that's going to appreciate what I have to offer and my skill level and all that. And that's the person I'm looking for. You just have to wade through a bunch of them to get to that one. But once you get that one, you forget all those no's. The end.
For sure, I think that's important, is to realize why are we doing what we're doing, instead of just the activity. So that's a great point to bring up, James.
Eric, do you have anything for agent attraction today?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. Great job, everybody. Fantastic. You know, it's kind of interesting. I was talking to an agent last week kind of about the current market situation, and you know, just that he'd been generally slower than usual. And it just got me thinking about how there's a lot of agents out there that wish things were different, wish things were better, but they don't know what's available out there. And how many times have you heard that saying, you don't know what you don't know? And it's just so true. We have such a great opportunity with what EXP offers, that agents need to know what we have and what we offer. The challenge, I think, is when you love and care on an agent and you want to help them, telling them what is so much better and what opportunities we have with EXP also comes with, well, you're just trying to recruit me because you want me on your team. So there's a balance there of yes, I want to grow my revenue share team, but I also want to help you. And I was on a call with Brent Gove last week, and he was talking about being really detached from them joining EXP and just love and care on agents and sincerely help them. And he basically was suggesting to do exactly what we already have from Jeff Lynn and Ashley and our team Limitless, is if you don't have that, set it up and do it on your own. But for us to be able to have the advantage of just being able to plug into what's already available with our team, and the team meetings on Monday, and then our Wednesday classes and everything that's going on, we just need to share how much we enjoy and how much it helps us in our business being a part of what we do. That's all we really need to do. Like this class that Alan Blett has coming up. I mean, we have one on Wednesday too, but that one just kind of stands out to me that, hey, this is a great class for you to invite people to and make it a big deal. And the way you make a big deal out of something is you invite somebody like 8-9 days in advance. Like right now is 9 days from that class. So you have the opportunity to follow up. I signed up for this information class on selling more real estate a month or so ago, and I cannot believe the follow-up of this guy. I'm like, I'm either gonna buy the product, the course, or I'm gonna hit stop on the reply because it's just so overwhelming. But I think about it, it's always in front of me. When you invite somebody and they say, yeah, I'd like to come, make sure you follow up and not just hope that they're going to show up. Remind them a couple days before, the day before, the morning of, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I can't wait to catch up. Make it a big deal to help them, because if they join EXP or not, or your team, it's really irrelevant if they actually come and rekindle a relationship with you, and it helps their business and it helps them sell more real estate and it helps their family. So just be connected to that, because that's really why we're doing this, is we want agents to have a better experience. We want them to learn. We want them to sell more. And even if they stay at a different brokerage, they're better agents that we get to interact with in the future, because they are learning some great points. So another thought too is, even if somebody doesn't come to the class, you get credit for the invites, right? Every invite that you send out, you're getting credit for it. It's like, wow, they're really busy. They are working, they are growing, they are doing classes, they are giving. So even if they're not coming, make sure that you get credit for doing the invites, whether they make it or not. And I think that's something we can all do better at. And I mean, how many times have you been sitting in a class and you're thinking about an agent that you wish was there, or a friend of yours that, could really benefit from the topic? You're thinking, man, I wish he was here today. I wish she was here today. This would be so good for them. Did we really put 100% effort into making sure that they were there and helping them get that information outside of EXP, right? EXP aside, helping those agents. So, just I was looking at our schedule coming up, and one thing I've started to think about is read the topic, read the instructor, and think about, who do I know that would actually benefit from this class? Who would it help? Who would be interested in this? So like the 9 what was the class this Wednesday, the name of it, the 9 renovation.
9 different renovation loans.
There's certain agents that we know that kind of specialize in, either investment properties, or have done some renovation. Think about, who do you know, what agents that you've worked with in the past or know that could benefit from learning that and just having that knowledge. So kind of look at it a different way and say, who do I know that'll fit this class, instead of who do I know that I just want to invite to a class, and come out of a a place of giving and helping people. That's really kind of my thoughts on it. And I love the 25 affirmations a day too. Come in with good energy and be positive and share something that you care about and want to help people, and we'll continue to grow. If all of us could commit to have one person be on the class, either Wednesday or the next Wednesday, that'd be 10 people just from our little group here today. We would have 10 agents outside of EXP coming to learn and get talking points that can help their business. And that'd be huge, because that can really grow on itself. So yeah, just make it a point to look for agents that could use some love right now and share what we're doing. And thanks again, everybody, Jeff and everyone, what you guys do to give us that opportunity to just plug in and have great information. So
Thanks, Eric. I'll add one other thing to that. It's not necessarily about attraction, but you're talking about, think of who can I invite, because somebody specifically could come to your mind. So when he's talking about attraction, he's talking about other agents, of course, but 9 renovations loan, 2024 market forecast, that applies to all of our family, our friends, our previous clients. It's on everybody's mind. Maybe somebody hasn't bought a house because they don't have the funds and the means to fix it up, and they can't find anything that's nice enough, new enough in their price range, so they have to buy that fixer-upper. Just even telling them about these other programs that are coming up might get them off the fence. It's like, oh, there's another way I can buy the property. I can actually finance my improvements. So think of acquaintances and family, friends, that might also be an invite. And to just recap what Eric said, you get credit for the invite. It's a touch. It's one of those touches like in the Ninja 9, you're reaching out, you're offering something of value with no expectation of anything in return. You're saying, I got something you might be interested in. And it's like, thanks for thinking of me. You are working on your relationship just by telling them about something that they didn't know that might serve them. So aside from attraction, think of that as well when we have these types of topics that aren't necessarily real estate agent specific.
love that. 100%.
Might be a social media post, right? Go steal the YouTube clip that Ashley sets up for us on all these trainings. She sets up an interview with me and the presenter ahead of time, so we can do a little teaser trailer. I'm sure you guys have seen some of those, but on the registration page, there's the person giving the training, introducing themselves and giving us a short little insight about what they're going to be talking about. That's a great shareable. You don't have to send them the registration page. Just swipe that little YouTube 2-3 minute clip and email that to them. Right? And then maybe you could include a link to the registration page, or better yet, ask them to reach back out to you for that engagement and then give them the registration page. Be creative with it. But those little videos, we're doing those for a reason, so people can have another shareable. Huh.
Hard
Yes, wow.
I know. Right, should we wrap up? I've got a quote to end with this time. If you spend your time chasing butterflies, they'll fly away. But if you spend your time making a beautiful garden, the butterflies will come to you. When you focus on improving yourself, everything you want will come to you. We attract based on who we are, not what we want. Don't chase, attract.
That fits well. Well said.
That ties in with what Hillary was talking about and Eric's great comments on attraction and stuff like that. Just be the type of person that you want to attract. Eric has said this many times, and we've heard it a lot with EXP. If you've gone to the events, is we're looking for people who are looking for us, right? I don't want just numbers. I don't want just a whole bunch of agents that come and go. I want relationships. And so that's, I love every one of you, and you're now part of my life because of attraction. And like Eric said, what if you could just get one more person that thinks like you, acts like you, serves like you, and expands your relationships, that you get to do this wonderful business with. Think of it in terms of that, and like James said, the why are we attracting? Why do you want revenue share? Why, is it just for the money, or is it for relationships? Is it why do you want it? And then that'll help you define your actions to make it happen. It's a good quote.
Thanks.
Hey, guys,
Went quick today.
does anybody have any final comments or talking points or things you want to go over?
I have a question. Alan's presentation, is that gonna be Utah specific or is that a national forecast?
It's going to be a market forecast, so he's gonna talk, I'm sure, local stats, but, knowing him, and I'll verify this, but, you can't necessarily talk about just local without bringing in the national by comparison. So I think there's gonna be some local connection, which would it'd still be great for you because they're talking about in our market, if you're inviting people to that you could start that conversation for what's going on in your market that might be different. So yeah, the national overtone, I'm sure will be there. Hey, guys,
Thanks, guys.
have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Good to
See you
see you.
later. Thanks.
Deal.
See you
That's-
guys.
See you on Wednesday.